Welcome everyone to the 283rd weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. It's like August 3rd already somehow. Oh my god, I got so much work to do.
It's already August. I gotta get drawing centaurs. So much work.
Can you just draw a never-ending centaur that Ouroboros is itself?
God, yes. As long as it's not. As long as it's a hug. It's a hug Ouroboros. So it just ends in a centaur hugging its own like 8 times. But
I like Allie's plan.
You know, many-legged. It turns into a moth. Oh, hi, CPC.
We're getting weird already. So hi.
And hello, Pix as well.
There's a moth with many legs.
So like a centaur, but a caterpillar. So
I see.
It loops around and hugs its own butt. And it's an Ouroboros.
Sounds reasonable.
Wait, what's the bottom? Is the caterpillar the top? Or
no, that's a sandwich.
It's still horses. It's just
okay. But back on
the structure of a caterpillar, but make it a horse.
Oh god, we've already derailed the stream, and we're
I think
only
I need a sketch of that on the Aggie.
It has to be like a centaur horse. It's gotta have like.
I was imagining like a centaur horse, but with a caterpillar on top instead of a human.
Although a caterpillar bottom half tour sounds really adorable. Anyway, speaking of
horses,
little horses, possibly endless horses.
Maybe, but we've got to go to bed sometime today.
Yeah. So, as I said, it's like the 283rd weekly MLP Drawing School, and it sounds like we got a full docket of people here. There's an Alley Claw.
Oh, hello.
There's returning from the long-lost dark, CPC.
Might be temporary, might be permanent, I don't know.
We'll find out.
Ominous.
Pix just being carried in by an army of wallabies.
It's being carried on the wind. That's what happens with pixies.
Hi there, my name is Pix. I do art. Hello.
Would you say you do pics?
I make pics of horses. Yeah.
Using pics as in pixels.
Yeah.
And Zai being
I'm
all
here.
sorts of fluffy.
Yay, I like fluffy.
Came out of a tumble dry.
Anywho.
And we can't forget you, Zom, our living dead, our most wonderful dead but living.
The zombie that we fall apart without.
That's only because I have all the passwords. All right. Well, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. If you have art, well, you should have already submitted it. Come on, get on our level here.
Where's
and
your
please,
carrier pigeons?
Yeah.
I want to see all your caterpillar centaurs. I don't see enough of them on this stream.
Get on that. Caterpillar centaurs. That is what you need to send before we critique your art. Figure it out. All right. So, seeing as we have none submitted to us separately, and no one on the stream has submitted it, we're going to start with our top left-hand corner here.
Seems like a sensible choice.
I know, crazy, right? This one is by MLP Hero, and it is B311, my first time experimenting with a new style of lighting in non-black lines. I'm proud of this piece, but I'm always looking to improve. Any tips?
Heck yeah, non-black lines.
This is giving me Saints Row 1 vibes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's accurate.
The non-black lines look good. Good experiment.
Yeah. Ow. How am I getting a foot cramp? I'm just sitting here.
Oh, it's the crabs are released in your room. They're grabbing your feet.
Oh no, pinty crabs.
Crabs are cute though.
Make friends with the crabs. Turn them into your personal army that pinches all your enemies.
Don't cross CPC. Got it.
It's fine. They just lightly pinch you.
So there's there's a thing that I don't understand with MLP guns. How come they have a pistol grip? Because that was designed for
Yeah.
human hands.
I was thinking about this the other
The
day, and
horses
like,
just think it looks cool, so they keep it.
I was thinking about this the other day, and like technology that's like clearly like just worked backwards from what we have in real life, and haven't thought about like how this thing would be invented by quadrupedal creatures.
Couldn't imagine Earth ponies having a good time shooting a gun while
Yeah.
holding it in your face. Oh no!
The unicorns designed it that way so that nobody
Yeah.
else could. It's a big
And they have like
conspiracy.
2 ways to hold it. They can just like levitate it next to them, or they can like hold it in their hooves and then just use the magic to pull the trigger.
Maybe they just import them all from the Griffin lands, and that's why they're shaped that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would
Them
totally imagine that the
I mean,
Griffins
if
are the ones who
anyone's
invented
Trigger
the
challenge.
anyone's
guns.
inventing guns, it's the Griffins.
Yeah, exactly what I was just saying. It makes sense. There's some lovely drawovers happening.
So I've
Yeah.
just gone ahead and added in the other ear. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this with your pictures before, but just a reminder: don't forget the ears. Maybe the changeling lost it in like some type of gangsta shootout, but it'd be really nice to relive the having the ear thing, even if it's prosthetic.
Yeah. I haven't done too much. Mostly just pulling the muzzle like in a bit and squishing this far ear so it's a little bit less wide, emphasizing sort of the roundness of the head. And pulled in this one, this eye that's closest to us, to be a little bit bigger as well. Yeah, there's not too much to sort of say. It looks like a good little picture. I love it. I love pictures. You draw a picture, so you did good.
And can I get you slightly closer to the mic?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I hear you better now.
I had you at
Come on,
200% and still wasn't getting you.
That's what happens when you don't talk into the mic.
Pixie can get closer, I can get further away, so we'll balance each other out.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant, wonderful.
You'll meet somewhere in the middle.
And high five as we do, like Finn and Jake.
Epic.
But yeah, anyone else have stuff they want to say on this one?
Not in particular. No, I mean, I like it.
I think the only thing I'll mention is I think I said this last week as well. If you haven't given it a shot yet, I'd head over to the sidebar and take a look at the tutorials there and just look at some of the general tutorials to start out with. And maybe if there's something, because you said how you wanted to improve, or is there anything you can try to help get better? And one of the things you could do is grab one of those tutorials and just start sketching a bunch of heads. Go with the tutorial and try a bunch of different stuff out and just sketchy those heads. 'Cause at this point, like right now, just keep drawing. Your focus right now is to just keep drawing. And if you want to get some help from the tutorials, they're really great, and I recommend studying them and looking at them and just kind of get an idea of how you want to improve.
Totally agree.
Yep.
All right, shall we move on to our next one?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go.
All right,
Let's go.
Embroidered Equations has submitted another one.
Hooray! And it's an awesome. This is probably like the best art I've seen all day.
It's such a good pose.
Including the fact that I just finished spending all day drawing a picture.
Rude, I sent you that love letter with that picture of me on it.
Oh, I didn't get it yet. Like everyone's like not
Your
available
picture,
because our
might have got a bit lost.
our NHS app decided to just ping everyone at the same time, so there's like not enough workers. So.
I think that's what happens when you don't have any anti-COVID measures. Besides, just try to vaccinate everyone quick enough.
Anyway.
All right, Embroidered. They accidentally broke her back for the sake of cool pose, but couldn't make the wings look right.
I mean, we talk about like we talk about like breaking anatomy for the sake of trying to put an idea across in the piece sometimes. So I think it's cool. So you talk about in the thing that the description question thingy that you wanted to have wings to be sort of framing the sun, somewhere like this. I'm going to propose, and you don't have to listen to me, but I think even though there's a clear opportunity to do that with this gap between the wings, I think actually not doing that specifically actually kind of makes the composition nicer in a way, because even though you could easily have the sun or moon or whatever you want to in this little gap here and make it look like a little ball that's in front of them, I think that pushes that like illusion too much, and having it just behind them creates this like sort of nice sort of depth to it, in my opinion.
Mm.
But just a suggestion.
Overlapping things is fun.
Yeah. Also, it's a huge sun, I'm aware, but Equestria is doomed. So maybe the princess is drunk.
Celestia got really drunk or really mad. We're not sure yet,
Yeah.
but we're on it.
People are on their way to find out. They have a box of chocolates and bananas.
We sent Twilight. She's the safest one.
Yeah. But it sort of works sometimes to stretch things for the sake of a composition. And it works super well for the moon. People like drawing the moon super big and never question it. Even though we'd also be just as doomed if it was super huge.
I mean, if anyone's gonna get that mad, it's gonna be Luna.
Probably.
I wouldn't necessarily say the back is broken. I just think some parts around the back could use some fixing up. Like someone was fixing up the thigh intersection there. Basically you'd want more of like a belly overlay just because of how the thigh and the belly would be at this position, because we are looking at them from like a 3/4 kind of view going on. And then also the neck. I think the neck just widening out makes the back kind of lose all the space it had in that layering. So just kind of pulling the neck a little straighter can help, make the back have a spot to exist. So it feels less broken and it feels like it can stretch backwards.
It's hard to convey everything behind you. Yeah.
Yeah, layering will be your best friend for this kind of like complex pose and angle. The more ways you can show layering, the more convincing it can be.
Hmm. I do like this though. That poking out the back is good.
You got any
I like
further?
I was just gonna say I also like the different positions of the hooves here, the slight tilt. Like these are really nice positionings for stuff.
I'll just change where the chest goes, because as it's going right now, I feel like it goes like this.
Yeah.
And so I just put it more towards here. And then you don't really need to change much with the arms, because they're already kind of hiding everything with this arm.
I also like how you took the belly on. I think that looks like a lot nicer. Would see more of the belly there where the leg comes out instead of where the side comes out.
Heck yeah.
Now I'll ask. You got any further questions for us, Embroidered? I can see you're hanging around the Picarto.
As for the wings, because I know you said they feel a little off. I really like what CPC is doing over here, and something you could look at are birds doing a dive, and you can kind of just do the reverse of the dive. Like, if they are flapping their wings at the moment, maybe we could approach it differently. But if they're doing like a hard loop-de-loop in the sky, odds are they're going to be aerodynamic, so their wings are going to be a little more pointed, kind of like how CPC's is over here, and less relaxed, where you see that. Let me go a different color. Where you, it's I can't use red. Ah, okay. Where you see this bend, you'd want to more force like, oh, they're going a little fast, so maybe it'd be like a straighter edged wing to show that like aerodynamic.
Also put both of them pointing inside instead of them pointing to the same direction. Since they kind of curve in. Kind of like they're about to hug something, but they're just being pushed by the air.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're about to hug the sun. Makes Celestia less
really
mad.
getting close now. Someone, what is Tyler doing?
They have no other questions.
Sweet.
Good
All
picture.
right. Let's
Good
roll
luck with
on
this.
to our next.
I love the sort of shapes and dynamicness of this piece. So good luck with it.
Yeah.
Oop. We got who's this by? This is by Limey18. They titled the thing 3 Cool Ponies here, but I grabbed their first.
Heck yeah.
So for the most part, they're all in the same pose. The only difference is one has the tilted leg. Also, this one has the most colors. The most colors always wins.
Colors are fun.
Well,
I
that
love
was
it.
dangerous. I just touched or used an actual pencil against my drawing tablet. That's
Oh
doesn't work.
no!
I have done with a Copic marker.
Oh!
Oh no!
At least
At least
that's
I guess-
felt.
Yeah.
I've also done it with a Posca, but at least that one was closed.
Oh no!
So
I
I'm not
really love
seeing
the
any
colors
questions.
and the gradients. The gradients are really pretty.
Mm-hmm. Looks like they're using oh, sorry. Excuse me. Whoa. Like some type of alcohol-based marker. Because you can see some very nice
Yeah.
blending going on some of the colors.
You
and
can also
that's-
see the texture that it leaves in the wings, especially.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I was slightly leaning towards a colored pencil because of the wings, but because of the layer blending without much air gapping between it, and I don't see like gouged pencil marks of you trying to actively blend pencil crayons together. Yeah. I've never been good with pencil crayons. So,
Yeah,
for your next picture, Limey, can you please ask some questions? Because you posted a few times. I'm not sure if up to this point you've responded much. Let me scroll on through. No. You just responded with "Nah, I'm good." So for your next pictures, ask some questions. We're actually interested in what sort of issues you're having, even if it's something simple like I'm not quite sure how the eyes go, or there's something weird about the side of the wings that feels off, but I can't quite put words to it or figure it out. Help. That's what we love to see. And the reason we love is because it means you've spent just a little bit of time trying to go over your picture and bring it to that point rather than using it as an art dump.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It lets us comment on stuff that you're having trouble with, or stuff that you want help with, rather than chucking our advice into the void and hoping, hey, hopefully it works. I just changed the face up a little bit to make this eye sort of face the side a bit more. Make it a little bit distorted. I see the face is kind of going on this sort of an angle, so I kind of made the horn face that direction a bit more. You could probably push it out even like this way a little bit more even. But yeah, just so because that being there, it kind of goes the opposite way. And I changed up the ears just a little bit to sort of, because this side of the face is kind of facing a little bit more away from sort of the camera. We sort of see the back of the ear and then the front of the ear, and this kind of like weighted towards that way, sort of a thing. You can see it like down here a lot more. And yeah, who else wants to go over their stuff?
Yeah, I think
Someone
I'll
has
just
extended the hoof.
yes. I believe CPC. Yeah, CPC did those.
Oops, I got distracted. Yeah, I did this one and this one, actually. They have bones in them.
What?
Heck yeah.
Good
That's
sturdy
yeah,
bones.
bones.
that's my critique. Remember that your legs have bones in them. This one has 1, 2. Well, this has more than 3, but the 3 is the simplest one.
3 joints, or 3 sections.
3 sections and a triangle cup thing.
Otherwise, how do ponies drink?
Just little
I
portable
guess
cups.
so. Yeah.
And I think something to keep in mind for like the legs and stuff, looking at the back legs here, your original leg, they had their bump or the hock way up here by the torso itself, and then your other ones was way down here. So it would be placed lower, kind of like how CPC has it, but even if you're going for the more MLP style, they'd be a little further down, even on a very long-legged horse, they'd be a little further down because essentially they're like the horse's ankle. And horses, I know it's different than a human. It feels like it's differently placed, but in the sense of looking at a human, it's like the ankle. So they'd both be in the same spot, even if they're right next to each other. Well, especially if they're right next to each other like that. So just something to keep in mind for the future. Keep those proportions in proportion.
Ready to roll on to our next one?
Let's go.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Party. We got a changeling.
Heck yeah, changeling.
Ooh, second
This is
change in the
by
day.
Invading.
Nightmare Discord. This is my first changeling drawing. Did I do all right? It seems off. Also, working on shading and doing and some tips on shading would be great.
Yes, you did it right.
Discord
because
was
you did
already
yeah.
difficult to deal with. Nightmare Discord would be horrible.
Yeah, you did a picture, and that
Yeah.
means you did it right.
Hell yeah. It might seem silly to hear that, but in all honesty, like a good question to ask is not if you did all right, but like things like, oh, I struggled with like how you have the second part, you wanted like tips on shading and stuff. Those are good questions. The all right thing, it's like, of course, you drew something. That's awesome.
Heck yeah, exactly.
It honestly is good.
Yep.
All right, so tips on shading. A few. Just stick them to your wall and try to never forget them. Always identify your light source before you go at it. It is so easy to get lost in remembering where your light source. My favorite method is draw the light source on, even if it's not physically in the picture. If I have a light source just hanging around that's, off into the distance, I will, circle, arrow, identify direction of light. It saves me so many times, and I can always just look back at that arrow. If it's a traditional drawing like this, where you might not get that mark off. Hey, guess what? You can have physical objects too. You can be like, this lamp over my shoulder, that's my light source. Easy things like that. When it comes to lighting and to trying to figure out how the light curves around the object, take it little by little. Don't try and shade the entire thing in one pass and expect it to be perfect. You're going to start piecewising it. So, things like, okay, I'm going to start from my left side and work my way down. Horn. Where's my horn in reference to the light? If the light's shining in this direction, I know that the horn's going to be casting a shadow. And the shadow should curve a little bit with the head. So boom, we get a shadow from that. All right, horn shadow done. Or at least the cast shadow from that. There's the shadow on the horn. Note, I'm just using a hard pencil. I tend not to use that for any of it, but it's a lot easier for red or making lines on paper. As far as working your way down, things like eyes and ears and that, it's just piece by piece by piece by piece. You don't have to tackle it all at once. And if you try and tackle it all at once, it's easy to get lost. And final, have some fun with it. Light in your pictures can be faked. You can always cheat a little bit. Maybe there's not so much light on the eyes, or maybe the eyes glow and they don't actually generate light. That's fine. That's cheating. That's for the sake of a picture. It's good. So have fun.
Speaking of keeping things simple, if you want to practice lighting, it can be as simple as, drawing a shape and then drawing where your light source will be, and then drawing the shadow on the simple shape because these simple shapes, they're so unintimidating. They're just these little shapes, but they all translate to something. Like this cone here, the horn, the ball here, the face. You know, even the cubes have merit because while sure there's no cube on a pony or whatever, you can look at, I don't know, the leg and kind of see it as a long rectangular cube thing and still be able to like, okay, so at least this side's going to be in shadow. It's like, oh wait, but it's curved, and then there's no blender in this program, but you could like then blend the shadow and make it softer, and it's like, oh, now it's a curved shape.
Mm.
All these simple shapes is really great practice when it comes to shading complex things like a full pony. So if you want something like to practice and have fun with that's not super duper time consuming, just basic shapes on a page and look at references of what those shapes would look like lit so you have a better idea than what I just scribbled here.
Mm. It's like you see the shaded sphere and all that sort of stuff all over, and it's like an art meme and all that kind of thing. But it's actually really useful because if you can properly draw the lights and shadows onto a shape like a sphere, it will help immensely when you come to like draw the head, when you come to draw this area, when you come to draw this area. It's just because you're just applying this to that. It's just like boom, boom, boom. I also like 3D pony generator like sites and things like that. Usually they have an option where you can like spin the pony around, and sometimes they let you like position the light and all that kind of thing, and that can sometimes be useful for like showing how light can like and shadows can go across like different areas like this. So I sometimes use those because they can be fun. In terms of all this sort of thing, most of it was just kind of refining shapes and all that kind of stuff, making this back eye a little bit more distorted to show off the curve of the head, drawing the sort of the full shape of the eye and then cutting into it, tweak to the muzzle shape. This is really good job with this line. What I see the sort of the front line of everything doing is sort of going along here. So I'm just pulling that down, that middle point down to here to sort of show off this whole curvy section-y thing. Yeah, and just refining shapes. Refining shapes is hard. It just takes drawing and drawing and drawing and sketching and sort of learning how your forms and your shapes and stuff work. So you'll get it. No stress. Yeah, feel free to look at this and be like, I'm going to redraw that, or I'm going to sketch with that in mind, or I'm going to sketch with this in mind, or whatever.
All right. Shall we move on to our next one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
The moral of the story here is you did awesome. You drew. Now draw more. All the more.
Exactly. You drew.
More. We never have enough.
Feed us art.
You work for us now.
All right. The next one's by Yargo Beef, and it's a sketch to drawing of a deer character. It's the first one. They have this nice traditional sketch. Yeah.
AQT. And I
Heck
gotta
yeah.
say, love how you did the bandana. You actually had it come off the body. I love seeing that.
Mm-hmm. And this little back part, and including the back ear and the nose, you've done good.
Is a cutie.
Deer character. What kind of friend has a deer character?
I think the one thing that sticks out to me out of all this is just that the body's a little bit too squished together. I almost want to just either change how the chest size is to kind of let the body be more squished, or give the separation from the butt and the chest just a little bit.
Hmm.
I like the chibi shape. Like it's pushed to an extent, but it's nice, and you've made very good work with it.
Heck yeah. I'm always a big fan of like pulling that out to like show like a big shouldery shape. Also, with this line in particular, I don't think that you'd really see that unless they're like sort of this side of the hip is like really raised up, kind of a thing. Yeah, what they've done there.
Yeah, you really
The
wouldn't
the
see
red
the
line has done
top
there.
there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see the top there unless it was like a severely underfed animal where the bone's showing through.
Oh no.
He does not look underfed.
No.
I wonder if you could show off a tiny little bit of eye on the far side here. Just a tiny bit.
Yeah, I feel like if you didn't want to see the full eye, I almost feel like we're fighting between true side view here and almost a 3/4 view, because the nose
Mm.
tells me 3/4 because the point of the pad is ending there. But if you really wanted it to be more like this was the half, you'd have it the true middle of the nose be at the apex of the face. And then you could
Mm.
just have that head shape without the second eye. So it's just little things. Be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then if you wanted true side view, all the ear would be shifted back, and so would the antlers on either side. So I think, yeah, getting that eye in, or adjusting the face just a smidgen, maybe have some overlap on the nose.
Oh, that'd be cool. Heck yeah.
Get them boops in.
Little tiny smidges of changes.
Yeah, I like how it looks.
Yeah.
Oh no, they got booped.
Oh no.
All right. Shall we move on to our next one?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All right. This one's by Cyborgen. Starlight Cause, The End of Time. Is this too dark or saturated contrasting? Honestly, I don't think it's dark enough. So, the way I like to play this game, for figuring out if my contrast is all sort of wonky and wild and not consistent, throw it to grayscale. You're actually here.
Yep.
I'm going to do this. Let me open up the old art software. While these guys talk, I'm going to do that up for you.
I use it so much that I sometimes I'll send like grayscales to commissioners and be like, so the values, you really want to play with the balance here and explain why I'm choosing colors that I'm choosing.
Well, funny enough, I was just thinking because last Friday we were talking about this in our other stream. I see you have a bit of a cracked screen going on, and I feel like there's a missed opportunity because it's so it's almost like you miss it. You look at this and you just kind of see jagged edges, but you don't actually see like a cracked crystally screen effect. And I feel like
Mm.
Fluffy and CPC could talk about how to make that like more visible and more feel like it's something cracking in front of the scene or part of the scene cracking.
Way to call him
I
out. Go ahead.
I honestly don't remember what I did last Friday, so Zai, you had a very good explanation that I didn't follow.
This is when we were talking about the stream overlays, and I had the technical difficulties one with the broken
Yeah.
thing. If I was the one running the OBS right now, I would probably turn on the screen just to show everybody. But it's just like a cracked image, and it's like I just drew like a bunch of jaggedy lines in kind of a cracked glass, and I just connected those triangles with smaller triangles to break them up a bit. Then I just had to duplicate the image a bunch, put it underneath in layer masks, and then just one by one select different areas, and then distort the image underneath, while leaving the layer mask alone, and it just enough to get them offset slightly from the pieces around them, so that you have that broken effect with the light being distorted and warped a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think definitely adding an edge to the glass definitely puts forward what you're trying to do more, as if it's just invisible. Like that is what happens with glass. You typically will see the edges of the cracks.
Yeah. I've just been doing very, very low opacity sort of tiny lines, and even that helps sort of show off where the cracks are and all that kind of sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
It really
if you want
helps
to
sells the fractures and stuff.
and if you want to sell the thing of the cracks are cracks in space and time and all that kind of stuff, you can have the magic kind of bleed over the cracks and sort of have that kind of there are explicit breaks in the picture, but then there are these elements that sort of go over the breaks and stuff.
Yeah, what I would
With
do
the
is just add a lot more brightness and saturation to the magic itself, because it kind of got lost a bit in the picture, and you can then you can use it to add light to the rest of the picture, to the most important parts, like their faces. Which is what I've been doing.
Yeah. It's all about pull and contrast to the important bits, and the important bits are this whole thing. And you can see the magic there, brightening that up and increasing the contrast there has helped a whole lot. And decreasing the contrast around all this outside area, so you see someone pulling it more towards the shadows and all that kind of stuff. And that makes it more interesting, but it also means that people aren't as likely to sort of stare there.
Wander off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to focus on the important things. And that's going to help with the composition that you've done.
I am going to do something crazy. And I'm going to steal this picture too. The one you've adjusted. Yep. I know. Insane.
Stealing pictures, what's become of us?
Mostly madness.
Madness? Okay, that works.
Alright,
Madness, chaos.
so here's Clip Studio Paint. Most of you will know this, some of you might not, but either way, it's basically the same as every other drawing program, with drawing stuff placed in every which direction, and sometimes you have to use a Ouija board to find the controls. But eventually you'll get there. So this is your picture?
What are you using?
Only
Sorry?
sometimes?
Only sometimes, yeah. Well, I don't use it that much. I am traditional because it's
Google.
Google.
Yeah.
No, I like to crack out Ouija boards. They're much more entertaining. Sometimes you summon up a demon, but other times you get the answer.
I mean, I've never really had that much trouble finding how to do things in Clip Studio.
I love my
Jealous.
Luigi boards.
Luigi boards.
Ouija boards.
Weirdly, all my demons I summon come dressed in green. I haven't quite figured that out.
Huh.
Wow.
That's
Alright.
the sometimes there's a defective one that's yellow.
Cool. So this is your picture. Wow. We can see the darkest tones and the brightest tones expressed easily because now we got blacks and whites and everything between them, right? So if we go stare at your two characters and we can start gathering some detail information about this. So you can look at areas like under the mane that's right here. You got some pretty dark areas forming up there, and some pretty dark areas here. You got a weird dark zone inside of her magic, and then some on the shoulder and arm, right? So those are some of your darker areas. We can compare them to what Starlight's rocking. Starlight's got some on her tail back here, under a little bit by her hair, but not quite as dark as what Twilight's was doing. We can use this to help balance our levels a bit when it comes to that contrasting, but we can also get an idea of how our highlights and shadows are falling on this to better express them and to make sure that a light source is still a light source no matter what character and color it is, because light intensity is the same no matter what color it's coming from on the subject. There's a bit of variance for it, but as far as the simple staple rule, if your light is so bright, your light is so bright on every object that it's touching until it starts falling off. So in this case, they're nice and close together. Your light's going to be a similar, or the same amount of luminance. The same amount of brightness. Illuminati, yes.
Oh no.
And now if we go ahead and compare that to just the edits that were happening on the stream, we can see that we've taken the tone of the outside of here and we've darkened it in to allow it to help focus in on here, but it also means that we can set a darker tone for some of the areas to help allow us to really play with some of those highlights. So you can see around, was that, just double checking face. Yes, around the eyes and that, and especially the magic, we got these very bright popping whites that are appearing on our grayscale, and they might not show up quite as well on the stream just because encoding stupidness, but at least on my screen, they're popping and they're white and they're nice and clear, and it helps us set the brightest colors. The points that we really want to focus on are going to be there. And we can use this to keep working back in two different methods. Either you can color it all in grayscale and then apply an overlay of your color, or you can just keep flipping it to grayscale, looking at it, and then working back in your color. Because in this case, it's just a click away to bring it back to full color. I hope that makes a bit of sense. I'd suggest abusing your tools, because you have them, so why not?
Hell yeah.
In most complex pictures with complex shading, I just have a color layer on top that's just colored full black, because then that will give you grayscale. And then it's
Yeah,
just
I do mine
turn
full
it on,
white.
turn it off.
Which is
I
like
think they
just,
work the same.
I know it does. It's just I've always
Anywhere
worked
between
for me.
full black and full white should work, as
Or
long as you don't.
any full grey, anything that just doesn't have
Yeah.
color. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Shall we move on to our next lovely picture?
Yeah. You can see the stuff that we've done over here in the meantime while LD's been talking. Just more refining.
Yeah, I really like what you've done with the cracks. Like that, just making them pop like that. It's wonderful. I wonder if you end up using like the color burn tool, if that would work well for it, because it's going to end up jacking that saturation on all of those areas, and it does a very weird color effect. It's worth a try.
Always worth a try.
Messing about with like layer modes would be good here, because the effect that you're trying to go for is like specifically reality's kind of breaking in weird, strange, wonderful ways. So you could even, like, grab a certain area and then just like invert the colors in it or do some weird stuff like that. Fun stuff to experiment with next time.
All right, now we shall move on to our next lovely horse, which I believe is our last lovely horse submitted today.
Mhm.
All right, so we got a Spitfire. Spitfire blowing some fire. This is by Valuable Ad 1504, and it's Spitfire Angry Drawing. Please critique on how to make it more menacing and awesome. So, more menacing? Contrast. Contrast makes pictures just pop. They make them vibrant and wonderful and emotional and awesome. Contrast. You've already started it. I can already see highlighting applied, and now we can see that someone going through and adding in some dark shading. Let's add a big contrast between that fire that's blasting out of her face and everything else. If you want a good example of what light like this would look like, go look at pictures of a flamethrower at night or pictures of a hot air balloon's fire pluming inside of it, the basket. Things like that. Very intense fires coming out of them. References are magic.
Another classic angry cartoon trope is not only fire out of the mouth, but fire and steam out of the ears for anger. So you can also utilize that to get the heat really like, oh my god, I want to kill you.
Because right
Dagger
now
eyes.
she's reading more to me as I ate some hot food,
Yes.
Yeah,
and less like she's angry at someone.
the eyebrows, like the eyes aren't slanted enough for that, and it's exactly what's being drawn up here. I wouldn't even do the fire though. I just would have like the character making like a really like grumpy, but like super push that up super far, the cheek like tucked in, have the eyes up like this. You gotta tent the like underside of the cheek, and then you could have like super like pinprick pupils, and then the whole of the face it's gotta be like tinted like red. You just have like a red fade over the whole face, and then you got like the ears, and then there's just ooh steam.
So, tip for eyes. If you're drawing eyes and the eyes touch the sides, then they're going to look more normal.
They look relaxed.
If the eyes don't touch the sides, then they're going to look more crazy and they're going to look more intense and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just like boom, you can see like the kind of difference that just like not touching the sides makes. If you're going for that kind of like enraged, look.
Not touching the sides just reminds me of Operation. Don't touch the sides.
Yeah, I'd almost want to opt for, unless you're going for the Spitfire pun of like, actually spits fire when she's angry. I would say stick with the smoke in the ears. Because like you can, instead of getting the fire, you can really push the mouth
Yeah, push the lip,
expression.
even better.
I would maybe lower the glasses a little bit so you can see the eye shape better, and then you'll get more of the emotion across.
Another thought is like making her push her head forward, like she's forcing her yell at somebody.
Yeah,
Because I think that'll keep it less like, oh, I ate something spicy, panic, throw my arms in the air. To like, I'm going at you. It's intense. It's in your face. I'm staring
yeah,
directly at you. You can't mistake this. I'm angry at you.
definitely.
Vex also gives a good point. Like she could be even looking further up, like she's screaming at the sky in frustration.
Don't you just do that occasionally? Just ah, and then the sky
Oh.
yells back at you. Ah!
I love me a good
And someone prints
therapeutic
a newspaper, old man yells at cloud.
Yeah, that could be another good like change here. I was just looking at your face here, and the way you have the open mouth right now is kind of like a D, like a happy D, where this is an angry thing, so you want it to almost be reversed, where it's a sad D.
Yeah, the face down there is good. This like one being drawn over here.
It started well, but when I added arms, she looked like she was a disgruntled like office worker instead. She's like, I can't deal with my job anymore.
Maybe she is.
Give up. Maybe.
Ooh, another good thing to mention, thank you, Vex, again. Both CPC and I have our ears back in our drawings because animals use their ears to express things. So something to interpret more anger into the animal language is something like the ears back is something like angry or scared or something. I forget the full list of things. It's really easy to look up like signals in animal ears and stuff, but back is usually upset or angry or just like genuinely cautious or, you know. So that could be something else to add to the anger. Get your ears to just be like folded backwards.
All right. Well, that seems like it for the amount of pictures we have. Anyone else have any other pictures or any other questions they'd like to ask?
Any other ponies they'd like to boop?
Why has Clip Studio been saving for the past 10 to 12 minutes?
Oh, probably because it's
Because
crashed.
it's
Dead.
Clip
Please send
Studio.
help.
Don't touch anything. It will break.
I know. Yeah, I hate that thing that it just you touch anything and then Windows 10 is just like, what? This program has deigned to ignore a response from its user. It must die instantly now. Throw it out the window. I'm just like, yeah, buy work that I spent all day doing. It's fine. I've already saved this. It's just I was just saving the PNG. There's nothing to lose really, but
Still frustrating.
yeah.
I just love how Clip Studio's saving is the thing that crashes it the most
Yes,
often.
it happens with me. With the autosave because it just comes out of nowhere with no
Oh yeah,
warning,
the
and then
autosave is the worst.
on small images it's fine, especially when you've got a decent computer, unlike my old one. But the autosave will come on and it'll just be like, boom, it's done. But with pictures that have too many layers, as it just gets exponentially slower, like eventually it'll just lag everything up, and you don't know what's happening until you hit like a bunch of keyboard keys and tap on the screen a bunch, and then you realize, oh shit! But by that point, it's too late.
I just recently finished a picture with complex shading. It's just like the whole time, every time it stops responding, it's just like arms up, don't touch anything.
Yeah, yes, right. Also, by the way, I don't know what's happening on either place on the bottom down here, but I love all of it on the canvas.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
The return of the silly ponies.
All right. Well, seeing as no one
There's
else
no-
has thrown art at our face, or asked any further questions, we're going to call it a day. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Why?
Bye.
Bye. I did just
Bye-bye.
notice that the silly ponies are us, and I love it.
What a speed run this week.